Well, hello everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Rick Jangotse, Richard Jangotse, and I'm a Canadian author. I'm the author of the Little Ricky short stories collections. Today's feature in Reading with Ricky, today is another Reading with Ricky day. Because why? Because every day is a good day for Reading with Ricky. Anyhow, today I'm going to feature the first story of my second collection. My second collection is called Little Ricky, the Lad from Otter Lake Adolescent Adventures. I put together this collection a few years ago already, and it was a pretty big success. It's my second attempt at writing a collection of short stories. My first collection is Little Ricky, the Boy from Otter Lake, but this one is Little Ricky, the Lad from Otter Lake, Adolescent Adventures. Because the stories are so much longer and detailed, I had to break the collection into two parts. So this collection is sold in two parts. It's sold in part 1 and part 2. Today's story is the first story in part 1. My stories are always available, as I've mentioned before, on my other videos on Amazon.ca, the Canadian version of Amazon, and equally as audiobooks on kobo.com. So what I'd like to do today is to tell you a little bit about myself. I started writing in the year 2000 when the pandemic hit. My original thought after retiring from the public service in Ottawa, Ontario, was to work with the elderly and to work in seniors' homes. But unfortunately, during the pandemic, as we all know, everything was closed down. We're all in lockdown at home. So rather, I started to write stories. I didn't realize I had talent as an author until I started sharing my stories on Facebook and on social media. And people said, hey, you should publish a book. And you know what? I did. And now I've published actually over 40 books. I have 40 short stories out there and available for sale. Now, am I selling my books to become rich and famous? Nope. That's not me. I'm a giver back. I always give back to society where I can. So what I'm doing is what I've decided to do since I started this writing journey is to sell stories, sell books out there on Kobo and on Amazon, and to give every dollar I earn, every penny, every cent that I earn in royalties to a food bank. I want to help feed the poor. There are so many people struggling out there, and it is my little way of trying to help others who are less fortunate than I. So I have started my writing journey, as I mentioned, back in the year 2000, and I published my first book, Little Ricky, the Boy from Otter Lake. It's a collection of 12 heartwarming short stories about a little 5-year-old boy and his upbringing in a small town and learning adventures in Otter Lake, Quebec. The stories are based on my own real memories, but they're all fictional stories. Again, 12 short stories, Little Ricky, the Boy from Otter Lake. The second collection that I put together, as I mentioned, is Little Ricky, the Lad from Otter Lake, Adolescent Adventures. I aged my character, my protagonist, I aged him to age 14, and now he's in high school, and he's living through all those weird and wonderful times as being a teenager. So today's first story is his first way of getting through high school, of learning how to overcome a very stressful situation in high school. So that's coming up soon. But anyway, today's story is going to be from part 1 of this collection. This collection, as I mentioned before, is sold in 2 parts. The most recent book I put out is a new book called Little Ricky, the Boy from Otter Lake, the Sequels. And this book is another collection of 12 heartwarming short stories, all in the same book. However, they are the sequels to my first book, Little Ricky, the Boy from Otter Lake. These are newly out, and basically it's, if you finish a story and you often think to yourself, gosh, I wonder what happened next. What went on with that character? Did that character go on and do what they said they're going to do? Did they live their life in a different way? Well, now you can find out in the sequels, because in this book, where each original story left off, they get picked up right here in the sequels. 12 wonderful short stories following the original 12 stories. Anyhow, but today's feature is going to be the first story called The English Assignment, A Coat of Many Colors. Way back when I was in high school, I was having a difficult time, and I found that a beautiful Dolly Parton song helped me to get through a very stressful time in my life. I wasn't having a good time in that particular moment in high school, and listening to Dolly Parton, and specifically the words to a very beautiful folk song, helped me get through a very difficult time. So I used that memory to build this new fictional story about Little Ricky and his time at Victoria Avenue High School in Charleville, Quebec. So hang in there. I'm going to have a reading with Ricky coming up really soon. But lastly, I just want to mention, I don't have a copy of it today, but I also have a third collection on the way, and it's called Little Ricky, the Young Man from Otter Lake. That collection will have 12 short stories like my first two. However, I only have currently 4 stories from that collection available. 3 are published, and they're available on Amazon.ca and Kobo.com. And I have the 4th story pretty much tidied up now. I'm going to be publishing it pretty soon, maybe by the end of the summer. This is 2025, so the end of summer 2025. And I hope to have yet another story, the 5th story in that collection, also completed this year. I've had some health challenges, so things have slowed down in terms of writing. But, I'm going to continue writing because I know my fans enjoy the stories, and I want to do the best I can to earn as much money as possible to support the poor people who are struggling, who have to use the food bank to go and find food. So again, hang in there. I'll be right back with a new reading from Ricky. I'll be right back. Hi, thanks for coming back. So let's now enjoy a reading with Ricky.
The English assignment, A Coat of Many Colors. The year 1978 was over. These were now the first fledgling days of a brand new year. The holiday break between Christmas and the New Year had ended. The restful festive time away from the pressures of being a grade 8 student at Victoria Avenue High School had passed by so quickly. How had that happened? Pondered Ricky. The holiday time away from school was exquisite. Ricky had had the great fortune to have spent yet another memorable Christmas season with his very dear friends and much cherished family members in celebrating the joy and love of the whole holiday season. He had immersed himself completely into the season through Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, the restful first days of 1979, and the beautiful event of Little Christmas or Epiphany. He was sad that these happy days had ended. Today was the first day returning to school and studies. It was Monday, and the apprehensive adolescent sat alone with his gaze focused on the whirlwind winter storm that was swirling snow gusts outside of the frosted school bus windows. It was early morning, and the high school teens from Otter Lake, Quebec, aboard the bus were headed back to school. Ricky pulled his coat tighter and readjusted his scarf. He felt cold, and had hoped that the bus driver, Mr. Schwartz, would turn up the heaters. His feet felt frozen as he tried to gently kick some life or blood circulation back into his iced toes against the vehicle's flooring. Mr. Schwartz was a good and competent driver, and Ricky knew they would all arrive on time, safe and sound, for first class in Shawville, Quebec. But Ricky sure hoped Mr. Schwartz could read his ESP message that he was sending to the driver and turn up the blasted heater. The frigid January morning had welcomed all the people of West Quebec to a typical icy day with brisk cold winds and bountiful amounts of snow drifting down from the heavens. It was predicted that at least 10 inches of snow could amass before it was all over. Despite the prediction, no school or school buses were canceled. As such, poor Mr. Schwartz and the sleepy young adults aboard the bus pushed on through the snowstorm en route to Shawville. As Ricky sat there on his bench seat aboard the bus, he was not amused with his present circumstances. His thoughts drifted back to earlier days before growing up and transitioning to high school life. To him, it seemed like yesterday. But by the end of this 1979 school year, it would be 2 full years since he successfully completed his elementary school studies at St. Mary's. He treasured his last year at St. Mary's and the wonderful, most amazing lessons bestowed upon him and his grade 6 classmates by Mrs. Leona Corriveau, their teacher. He smiled warmly at this moment as he fondly remembered when she had hugged him and offered to write him one last farewell message in his tiny autograph book at his request. On that day, after penning the sweetest note in his little booklet, Mrs. Corriveau had expressed, "Young Mr. Ricky, you have done very well this year. Next autumn, I do believe that you will continue to impress your new high school teachers, as you have impressed me with your study and dedication to your schoolwork. I do predict that you do indeed have a talent to learn and use words wisely, and with continued study, you will hone these skills to become a renowned poet or writer. Mark my words, young man. I know you have the potential to do something special. When you become successful, please remember me and how we worked together to develop your extraordinary gift." Upon reliving this memory, Ricky's eyes filled with tears and his smile widened. With his mitted hand, he He reached up and wiped the tears quickly before they could stream down his cheeks and freeze into tiny icicles. Ricky's heart warmed with love as he affectionately remembered his elementary school teacher and her kindness.
That is a reading from Ricky for today. If you're enjoying this story, it is available for sale. $6 for an ebook version or an audiobook version. Audiobooks are on kobo.com, and ebooks are available on Amazon.ca. If you like a paperback version, the paperback a little bit more expensive, about $12 to $15. I think it's being sold for now on Amazon.ca. You can find it there. Again, all of your purchases, all of the royalties I earn from your purchases go directly to a food bank. I donate all of the money I earn to a food bank. If you're liking my videos and my little reading with Ricky videos here on my YouTube channel, give me a thumbs up. It'd be great if you gave me a thumbs up. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button down there, and that way you'll get notified any time that I have new videos coming out. And also ring that bell. And when you ring that bell, it's going to send you a notification. Again, have a wonderful day. This is Reading with Ricky. My name is Richard J. Ngozi, Canadian author, working for you. Take care. Bye-bye.